Yo, it's your boy Marcus, aka Just One Marcus on the Just One channel, and today we are going to break down the Charlotte Hornets and rebuild around LaMelo Ball. So the Hornets right now are 14th in the East. I'm pretty sure that's like one of the worst teams in the league. If we look here, that's the second worst team in the league. Right now though, they're playing against Portland and they're up in the second quarter. So I'm gonna force win this game for Charlotte just because today is this day and they're winning right now. So yeah, we still end up as like the second or third worst team in the league. So we are definitely in these Wemby sweepstakes. Terry Rozier still has a lot of years left on his deal. So he's gonna be a guy I try to move in the offseason. Gordon Hayward after this season will have one more year, and I feel like his contract will be much more movable. So I'm thinking for this first year, this is what the lineup's going to look like. LaMelo getting heavy, Rozier heavy, Hayward heavy, Washington heavy, just because I want them to put up good stats. So once I do trade them, like they'll have higher trade value. Plumlee, I might move this trade deadline because he's on the last year of his deal and he's 32 years old. So maybe a contender would want him. And then off the bench, I got my young guys getting some minutes to develop here. And then Kelly Oubre, who's on the last year of his deal as well, who I don't know if I'm going to pick up. So I have him not getting that many minutes there. So yeah, let's sim to the end of the year and hope we end up in some good Wembanyama sweepstakes. Actually, to the trade deadline to see if I can find a Plumlee trade. All right, so we are at the trade deadline, and I actually went in the trade finder to look at trades for Mason Plumlee. And if we go to the Grizzlies over here, they offered me a offer for Plumlee. And looking at their team right now, they're contending. They're first in the Western Conference, so they're definitely a contending team. And backup center, they have a 76 overall Brandon Clark, who's putting up 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist with about a block a night. So if we go into the trade finder, this is what the trade would look like. Plumlee for Danny Green, who has 1 year left, and I think he might have a team option, but it might be done now. So yeah, it's just 1 year. And they're going to give me a top 3 protected first. Plumlee's stats compared to Brandon Clark's, he's putting up more points than him. He's putting up much more rebounds than him. And he's putting up much more assists than him. So I feel like Plumlee would be a guy they want who's like a good vet, all-around kind of center to put them over the top, hopefully in spots off their bench if they get in a deep playoff run. So this seems like a realistic trade to me, and we're going to do that. And they agree. So with that trade, Nick Richards is going to slide into my starting center spot, and then Mark Williams is going to start getting some minutes off the bench. So hopefully one of these guys can be progressed to be maybe a starting center if we don't get Wemby. Or wait, I don't know what's happening here. Okay, Danny Green had a minute as the reserve guy, so I just had to fix that. But yeah, hopefully one of these guys can progress to be a decent center for us if we don't get Wemby. But so far it's looking like we have good chances for it. Season is wrapped. Luka MVP putting up almost a 35-point triple-double. Paulo Rookie of the Year. Jordan Poole 6-man. AD Defensive Player. Trey Jones Most Improved. And Willie Green is the Coach of the Year. He was All-NBA first, All-NBA second, All-NBA third. With Tyrese actually makes it on there. All-Defensive first, All-Defensive second. And here are your rookie teams. I do not think we would have anyone. So yeah, it does not look like we are in the play-in or even in a playoff spot. So let's see where we actually ended up in the East. We were the second worst team still, and then compared to the West, we were the 4th worst team in the league. So we should have around the same odds to jump into that number 1 spot. Stats for the year, LaMelo leads the way, 21.7 rebounds, 9 assists, shooting pretty decent from 3. Terry Rozier, 20 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, shooting pretty well. Could be a good trade guy. Gordon Hayward, kind of down in most of his numbers, but I feel like a team would still want him as like a veteran who can stretch the floor and be a smart player. Kelly Oubre not coming back, didn't have the best season. PJ Washington, I'd like him to stay here. Hopefully he gets back up to this 38% shooting season from 3. Nick Richards played solid once he came to that starting center role, giving me a block. Jalen McDaniels played pretty well as well. And then Mark Williams. Wow, Mark Williams came in and shot 40 from 3 and put up a block a game with 17 minutes off the bench. He only attempted 5 threes though, so I guess it's not that impressive. Then here's Dennis Smith's numbers. He actually played really well. Like, he played solid for the minutes that he got. I think this is his last year, so if he comes back for around the same money, maybe I'll pick it up. but if not, we are going to be moving on from him, and maybe we'll get a guy in the draft we can have a backup as. So Jaw gets West Finals MVP, Donovan Mitchell East Finals MVP, and the winner of the 2023 playoffs is Memphis. So Mason Plumlee or Miles Plumlee, I honestly always forget which one he is. Let's take another look here. Mason Plumlee gets traded to them. They give me a first round pick and they end up winning a championship. So that is a W trade. Okay, draft lottery. Let's see if we can jump into that #1 spot for Wembanyama. It says the Spurs would have my pick, but I don't think they actually would have it if it's in the top 5 or even in the lottery. Skip results. And we get the #1 pick. Let's go. So we're going to add Wembanyama to pair up with LaMelo Ball for the Charlotte Hornets future. That is going to be nasty. I swear, I've been doing rebuilds for like 5 to 7 years, somewhere in that range, and I very rarely get the #1 pick, even if I'm rebuilding a bad team. So getting Wembanyama here is a huge dub. I also have a 2nd round pick here, and I think I'm going to pick up Marcus Bagley. He's a bit older, but I haven't gotten him yet in any of my videos, so I want to see how he'll be able to do. And yeah, here's the draft results. Wembanyama, obviously the top guy. Nick Smith actually comes out as the 2nd highest, not Scoot. And then our rookies, we got Wemby at 82, and then Marcus Bagley comes in at a 69. Team player options, I'm actually going to accept everyone here and see if like some of those other guys who aren't very high overall will end up progressing off the bench. Also going to give the qualifying to both of these guys. So Jalen McDaniels is a free agent. I think I'm going to sign him to like a short deal, maybe 3 years for a flat contract at like 8 mil and a team option on that, just because I don't know if I'm going to keep him around for very long if I get better guys in the lineup. So I want to be able to move him if it doesn't work out, and he agrees to that deal. Now I gotta bring back PJ Washington. I think I'm gonna give him a 5-year deal at like 13.5 bird, ending at 17.8, and he should agree to that. He does. I don't know why Nick Richards isn't showing up in free agency. I guess I don't have enough money to sign him, so hopefully he ends up coming back on the qualifying. Okay, so for my first offseason move, I'm gonna be moving Terry Rozier and a 2nd to the Knicks for an unprotected 1st, and Evan Fournier, who's just not playing well for them at all. They still have a team right now where they could kind of compete and maybe get a decent playoff run going, and Terry Rozier would play much better than what Evan Fournier is doing right now. So I feel like this trade is realistic for both sides, and we are going to do that. For the 2nd move, I'm going to trade Gordon Hayward to the Houston Rockets for Jayshawn Tate and a 1st, and I'm also going to send them a 2nd round pick, just because Jayshawn Tate in this game is not shooting very well from 3, and he's kind of getting to the older side, 27 years old. Gordon Hayward's 33, but he has 1 year left on his deal. And they just brought in, if we go to age here, Brandon Miller, who's a small forward, power forward, and they have Jabari Smith, who's also a power forward, and Jalen Green, who can play small forward. So to me, the way this trade has a realistic side to it is they're going to bring Gordon Hayward for 1 year and eat his deal, just to kind of mentor these 3 young guys they have and teach them how to win games and be smart and play good basketball, and not be like, I don't know, maybe selfish and doing ISO ball and stuff like that. I feel like they have a roster now where adding him, they could compete for a playoff spot. And like I said, he would teach these young guys. So a year from now when he's gone, like these guys will be a lot smarter to be able to make their own playoff run without him. So we're going to do this trade. Right now I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I feel like that's pretty good. And if we get Nick Richards back, we can use him we can bring Jayshawn Tate maybe to play backup 3 and put Nick Richards or Mark Williams or even Wembanyama back at the 2 spot. And I actually don't think I got Nick Richards back, so that's not even going to happen. Player progression, LaMelo's up to a 91. So adding Wemby here, hopefully PJ Washington progresses more. Oh, we did get Nick Richards. So I'll move something around and make the lineup. And yeah, everyone here is green except for Evan Fournier, but that's fine. He might honestly not even get minutes for me this year, and I just eat this contract and decline his team option. So yeah, let's sim to the start of next season and get the lineup together. Here's what the lineup's looking like for the 2nd season. LaMelo at 35, Book Knight in that starting spot now getting 29, with Jayshawn Tate at the starting 3 with 29, Wemby at the 4 with 35, and Nick Richards at the 5. PJ Washington's going to be the 6th man getting 19. McDaniels getting 19 as well. Then Maledon 17, Mark Williams 15. And I want to see what Marcus Bagley can do, so I'm giving him 15 as well. Let's sim probably this whole season and see if we can make a playoff run somehow with these guys. Season is about to be wrapped. We're 35 and 46, so much better than last year. I don't think we're going to have like chances for a high playoff or a high draft pick. Yeah, we're just out of the play-in spot, so that is okay with me. Last game against the 76ers and we lose. Darius Garland, MVP, 27 points, 12 assists, crazy numbers. Wembanyama gets Rookie of the Year, so love to see that. Melton gets 6th man, Giannis, Depoy, Garland most improved as well, and Willie Green is the Coach of the Year. Here's All-NBA first, All-NBA second, and Wembanyama makes All-NBA second as a rookie. So 21 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists with a steal and 2 blocks. Honestly, he shot well too. That's a fair reason. That's a fair stat line to be All-NBA second with. And here's All-NBA third. Here's your All-Defensive first team, All-Defensive second. We get LaMelo and Wembanyama. So Wembanyama had a crazy rookie season. And then All-Rookie first, of course, Wembanyama's there. So we definitely have a bright future. We don't have any playing spot there. Player stats for the year other than Wembanyama: LaMelo Ball, very much improving. Had an amazing season. 25 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals, shooting 50, 40, 87. I don't know how he didn't make an All-NBA team. We saw Wemby's stats. Book Knight actually played pretty decent for me, coming into a starting role now, much better than he had played previously in his career. Maledon came in and played really well for me as well. He was in the G League and I called him up. Jayshawn Tate, probably not going to be here for the future. Nick Richards, same. I don't know. He's a 7-footer. He puts up a block a night, shoots well from the field, so I don't know. Maybe he'll stay here, maybe he won't. Marcus Bagley came in as a 69 overall and actually shot the ball really well. PJ Washington playing better, good to see since I signed him to an extension. And Mark Williams came in and did not shoot nearly as well as he did from 3. And then here we have McDaniels shooting pretty decent, and that was all of the guys in our lineup. So let's simulate these 2024 playoffs, see who's gonna win it, and move on with this rebuild. Tatum East MVP, Ingram West MVP, and your 2024 champion is the Celtics. They sweep the Pelicans, and Jaylen Brown, 34.7 rebounds, 4 assists, is your finals MVP. Okay, so let's see if we're gonna get lucky here with some of the picks we got in this lottery. It does not look like we even... Okay, Spurs via Charlotte. I don't think they would get that pick. Let's skip to the results. And we end up... Wow, so we would have had the 3rd pick, but the Spurs apparently have it. I'm gonna have to double check that to make sure 2K is not cheesing me. So hopefully 2K is just wrong there, because we would only have the 21st pick if that is not the case. So I double checked it, and the Spurs actually do get the 2024 pick because it defers over from 2023 since it was in the top 16. I'm probably just gonna sim to my 21st pick, I think it was, and pick the best available guy. I think I'm gonna take Skylar Clark here in case Maledon is not gonna end up being my backup point guard of the future. And then with my 2nd round pick, I'm gonna take Chris Livingston just to progress in the background, and my other one I don't really care about. So Sky Clark comes in as a 73. Livingston is 68. I'm gonna pick him up. And then Alex Fuller I got from my assistant GM, who I guess I could pick up as well and see if he progresses. Team player options, I'm declining Tate. Actually, I'm gonna pick him up and see if I can trade him for a 1st round pick. Mark Williams picked up, Book Knight back, Kai Jones back, Evan Fournier gone, JT Thor and Bagley both back. LaMelo is 100% getting the qualifying, so is Maledon actually, and Nick Richards. So LaMelo's getting an offer, we are obviously going to match that. And then Nick Richards, I'm actually going to bring back on a 5-year bird deal starting at 10 mil and ending at 13.2. And he agrees to that. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing Maledon in free agency, so I'm just gonna sim it and hope that he comes back on a qualifying offer. But if he doesn't, we have other guys that can play there, and he does, so that is good to see. Player progression, Wemby already up to an 86, LaMelo at a 93, Nick Richards going up. PJ Washington isn't though, which is kind of disappointing because I give him a pretty good contract. And yeah, literally everyone else is either green or staying the same. So let's sim to the next season, see if we can get a Jayshawn Tate trade going before the season starts, and then get the lineup ready. So I actually need to cut someone from my roster because I have too many guys, and I think unfortunately it's gonna have to be JT Thor, just because he doesn't have very good ratings in this game, and I feel like I'd rather have these other guys progress off the bench because they have better potential. So yeah, we're going to release him to free agency, and that should let me move on now. Here's what the lineup's looking like for year number 3. Honestly, pretty much the same as last year, just giving some guys more minutes and some guys less minutes. Jayshawn Tate, I couldn't find a first round pick for him in the trade finder, and then finding something realistic. So I'm just going to keep him in the lineup until the trade deadline and then take another look then. But yeah, I feel like this team could maybe make a push for the play-in because of Wemby and LaMelo. So let's sim to the trade deadline and see where we're at. We are at the trade deadline, and as you can see in the bottom left, we're 35-21. So I'm definitely going to try to get a first round pick for Tate. And then this offseason, 100% going to be bringing in a star, or trying to bring in a star, because we're a team now that a star would want to go to and help put over the top. And I might even try to do a big trade for another star level player. So the Mavericks right now are a pretty bad team. They do not have any good small forwards. Like, they literally don't have anyone playing small forward here. Like, Finney Smith can play it, but at this point he's a 77 overall, 31 years old. So I'm going to try to get their unprotected first this year, trade them a solid small forward in Jayshawn Tate, who's having a really good season, and also my backup point guard, Theo Maledon, who's starting to come into his own, because I feel like I can slide Sky Clark into that backup point guard spot and I'll still be okay. And then they would give me back Anthony Lamb, who was their small forward but is just playing absolute terribly, and they'd give me back Maxi Kleber, who isn't really playing for them. So let's see if they agree to this. They do not. They'd want a top 3 protected first back. That's not very valuable, and they'd give me a second. I'm gonna see if I can just throw them more seconds and see if that does it. So let's see if 2 seconds changes it. It does not. They want Marcus Bagley, who's playing really well for me. I'd rather do the other offer they gave me. I give them that top 3 protected Memphis first, and they give me back a second. So this is the trade we're gonna do this offseason. Post trade, this is what the new lineup is looking like. Everyone here is on fire. McDaniels is getting into that starting small forward spot now. I'm actually going to slide Mark Williams into the starting center because his per 36 numbers are insane compared to Nick Richards. So I want to see if he can progress into being that type of player. Then we have PJ Washington, Cody Martin getting back into the lineup with 15 minutes. Whoops. So he'll be able to fill the spot of the two small forwards we just traded away, I'm pretty sure. And then Marcus Bagley is still getting his 15 minutes, and Sky Clark will be sliding into that backup point guard spot. So let's see if we can keep it up and make a pretty decent playoff run this year. We have 1 game left on the season. We're 1 win away from 50 wins. So let's see if we can get this W against the Pistons and we end up as a 50-win team. Garland putting up insane numbers as the MVP. Xavier Bookie Rookie of the Year. Markelle, 6-man in Atlanta now. AD Depoy on the Raptors, Johnny Davis most improved, and Willie Green is the coach of the year. Here's All-NBA first with Wembanyama already on there, putting up 26-11 with 2.5 blocks, shooting 51-38, absolutely insane numbers. LaMelo All-NBA second team, so we have 2 All-NBA guys. LaMelo putting up 24, 6, and 12 with 2 steals, shooting almost 50, 40, 90. Here's All-NBA third. Tyler Hero actually gets on there, which is pretty cool. And Siakam's on the Bulls now, so I guess they traded AD for Siakam. Maybe AD signed to the Bulls. Here's All-Defensive first with Wemby on there, and All-Defensive second. And your all-rookie teams, I don't think we would have anyone, and we do not. So we end up as a 3 seed with a 50-win record. Let's look at these season stats other than LaMelo and Wemby. We have Bouknight putting up 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. His shooting isn't the best, so maybe this offseason we'll be looking for a new starting shooting guard. Here's Mark Williams stats. Marcus Bagley still shooting pretty solid, but not as good as his last season. Nick Richards played decent. Sky Clark came in and played really well for me as my backup point guard, so losing Theo Maledon was not that big of a loss. PJ Washington shooting almost 40% from 3 is great, because I think this offseason after I sign hopefully a star player, I'm going to use him in a trade to get even better players back. Here's McDaniels, also had a much better season, so I could use him in a trade this offseason. And then Lamb didn't play for me, but Cody Martin actually did play for me, and he probably will not be back after this season. Game 1 against the Hawks, who we know have Markelle coming off their bench. They have Trae Young, DeJounte Hunter. They have Chris Murray at the 4 now and Larry Nance at the 5. So they don't have Capella or Kongwu anymore, I guess. Game 1, we lose, surprising. Game 2, we win. Game 3, we win. Game 5, can we gentlemen sweep the Hawks? We cannot. Game 6, we win. So we end up going to the second round. We're going against the 2 seed Orlando Hawks, who have Lonzo at the 1 now with Devin Vassell at the 2, Wagner at the 3, Banchero at the 4, and Wendell at the 5. So the Magic actually made some pretty good moves in like a 2 to 3 year period. And Lonzo Ball and Vassell as their 1 and 2, I actually like a lot. So we need LaMelo and Wemby to go crazy here. Game 1, we lose. Game 2, we lose. Game 3, we lose. Game 4, we win. Game 5, we lose. So the Magic gentlemen sweep us in the second round. I think we're in a great position though to sign a star in free agency, as Porzingis on the Jazz is West MVP and Garland is East MVP. The 2025 champions, I think this is the Utah Jazz, actually, with Nick Smith leading them to a championship. Okay, so it does not look like we would have a lottery pick this year, which is somewhat unfortunate. I was hoping that Mavericks pick would end up in the lottery, but it ends up being, it's at 9 actually. So we do get a lottery pick and we have 24 from ourselves, so we can hopefully use those in a trade. I think it is time to move on from Steve Clifford and bring in someone who has better ratings with a decent system to fit our team. I'm gonna try for Nick Nurse, although usually I'm not able to get him. So, oh wait, did I just skip a day there? I don't think I did. I'm also gonna go for Mike Malone here and hope that he comes to us. And then last offer, in case we don't get those guys, is gonna be Will Hardy. So let's see if we get anyone, and Will Hardy will agree right away. So that is going to be the new head coach of the Charlotte Hornets. I didn't realize Maxi Kleber still had a year left on his deal after the one that just passed. So I think I'm gonna have to attach the 24th pick to hopefully get off of him and send him to someone else. I don't think getting a first round pick back for him is very realistic, so I might just send him to a team that, like, yeah, maybe is giving me a lottery protected first, and instead I'll take back, I mean, I'm giving them a first round pick as well, so maybe this deal with Boston actually makes sense. I'm actually gonna do this deal with the Lakers instead. Maybe they think they can get a guy at 24 who's a pretty solid guy they can use in their rebuild mode now that LeBron's like 40 years old and probably gonna retire. So we're going to do that to get off Maxi Kleber and pick someone at 9. So for the 9th overall pick, I'm going to pick up Isaiah Evans, who has all NBA potential and pretty good stats other than his 3-point shooting. But I think my lineup all around will be able to shoot, so I'm not too worried about that. And he comes in as a 76 overall. Team player options, everyone is getting it picked up except for Cody Martin. Marcus Bagley, Book Knight, and Kai Jones are all going to get the qualifying offer. So I would have to offload 21 mil to get one of these top guys here. So immediately the Bulls will give me 2 firsts for PJ Washington. I don't think that's very realistic, so let's see if we can find anything better. The Jazz would give me 1 first. They just won a championship, so they could be looking for depth guys to keep their run going. I honestly don't need to look at anything else. We're going to do that trade with the Jazz. OKC would give me a first and a second for Nick Richards. Honestly, they're a team now that's pretty much competing. Their backup centers are really young, so they could want a guy like Nick Smith, who's 27, has really solid numbers, to be kind of an older player that has more IQ in their lineup if they're going to compete for a championship or playoff run. So we're going to do that trade right there. Now I'm going to give all the top guys offers here in free agency because, like I said, we just made a pretty good playoff run as a somewhat up and coming team, and I feel like one of these guys might want to come here. I don't think I'm going to give Donovan Mitchell an offer because I signed him in one of my other videos and he didn't work out being a small shooting guard. So the next guy up would be Brandon Ingram, who I would love to take in for 4 years. I like that, and maybe we'll do like 37.5 backloaded, and he would probably agree to that. So let's see if we get any of the first 2 big guys, and it looks like we do not, but I will happily take Brandon Ingram over anybody else that's here. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to renounce Book Knight, which kind of sucks. Tatum goes to the Pistons and Giannis goes to the Bulls, so that's pretty surprising. We are going to get Brandon Ingram here though, so that is a huge dub. I'm gonna re-sign Kai Jones to a 3-year deal for about 9 mil. And I'm probably gonna use him in a trade as well because I feel like I could get a better role guy instead of him in free agency. And then I'm gonna hope Marcus Bagley comes back on the qualifying. So the Mavericks were 13th in the conference last season, and they have Spencer Dinwiddie still, who's on a $15 million deal. I feel like I could give them 2 mid-year guys that are pretty solid and a bunch of draft capital to get them to give me Spencer Dinwiddie, even though it'll be a 1-year rental. And they still have Luka though, so maybe they wouldn't want to do that, but they could also think like Luka's 26 now. Maybe we bring some young guys in and some draft capital so that when Luka's like 28, 29, we can compete for a championship. So yeah, I'm gonna see if they do this trade. Jalen McDaniels, Kai Jones. Sorry, I meant I could use Kai Jones in a trade and not in free agency. I think I said before. And Brooklyn's unprotected first-round pick for Spencer Dinwiddie. They should agree to it. They do not. So I am going to throw in 2 first-round picks, even though it is a lot. I feel like this trade with the signing we made with Brandon Ingram really gives us a good chance at winning a championship, and they do agree to that. So we trade for Spencer Dinwiddie this offseason. Then for some depth guys, I'm going to bring in Caleb Martin on a 2-year deal for, let's say, 5.5 flat. He should agree to that, and he does. Then as a backup center, I'm thinking I'm gonna bring in Cody Zeller as a backup center. He played here before, right? Yeah, he did play here before. So Cody Zeller is gonna come back, and we're gonna see if he can help us get a championship. And okay, I can still keep Marcus Bagley there, so we get Cody Zeller. Now let's hope Bagley comes back on the qualifying offer because I can't give him any more money. And he does, so that is good to see. Let's look at player progression. LaMelo 94, Wemby 86, Ingram 88. Dinwiddie goes down, but that's okay. Mark Williams going up. Everyone else here going up except for Cody Zeller goes to a 72. So we're gonna have to rely heavy on Mark Williams and hope he can take over. But let's get this lineup ready. I think this will be a year that we can hopefully make a finals run at least. Here's what the Hornets lineup is looking like for the 2025 season. I think this is, yep. LaMelo 37, Dinwiddie 31, Ingram 34, Wemby 38, and Mark Williams getting 34. 6-man Sky Clark with 14, Marcus Bagley getting 14, Caleb Martin with 14, then Isaiah Evans, my rookie, getting 13, and Cody Zeller rounding it off at 11. Let's sim probably this whole season, and right now it's looking all right. See if we can be above a 50-win team, hopefully maybe even a 60-win team. I stopped at the trade deadline, not because we have a bad record, but I'm thinking if we do get into a deep playoff run, I need to have at least like decent guys in my lineup to be able to do something, and 2K doesn't like screw me over because I have a 72 overall in the lineup. So Zach Collins is having a pretty decent season for Milwaukee. Giannis is no longer there, so I'm sure this is very realistic to get 2 first-round picks back for a role guy and then just eat Cody Zeller's contract for a year. So we're going to do this trade in the regular season at the trade deadline. We have 1 game left on the season. We're 56-25 right now. Let's see if we can win against the Wizards. And we do, so we win 7 more games than last year. Wembanyama is your MVP, putting up 27, 13, 5, 2 steals, 3 blocks, shooting 55, 43, 82. Trey Johnson, Rookie of the Year. Dylan Mitchell, 6-man. Wemby, Defensive Player as well. So Wembanyama had an insane season. Terquavian Smith is your Most Improved. And Steven Silas, Coach of the Year. So wow, we get LaMelo and Wembanyama on All-NBA First Team. LaMelo puts up 22, 7, and 13 with 2 steals, shooting 50, 40, 90. Absolutely insane. Here's your All-NBA Second Team. Steph Curry's still on there at 38 years old. And All-NBA Third Team with your All-Defensive First. With Wemby on there, obviously, All-Defensive Second, and then your rookie teams right here. We actually had Isaiah Evans on All-Rookie Second, I saw at the end of this, so that is really good. And we are the 1 seed in the East. Let's look at these player stats. We already looked at Wemby and LaMelo. Ingram came in and put up 19, 5, and 6, shooting 50, 40, 90. So although we have 2 All-NBA First guys, he still was able to put up the same, pretty much the same points per game he did last year in New Orleans. Mark Williams is the starting center. I don't know why he's shooting 3s. I'm probably going to take his 3 tendency away because, yeah, I just don't need my 7-foot big man who's like a really good defensive presence to be shooting those. Dinwiddie comes in and plays very solid for me. 10.7 assists as my starting shooting guard, shooting almost 40 from 3. Marcus Bagley's efficiency is insane. He could honestly be a starting shooting guard at a 74 overall. Sky Clark, also insane efficiency. Isaiah Evans came in and played pretty solid. Caleb Martin shot 58 from the field, 55 from 3, and 86 from the line as my backup power forward, small forward. And then, oh my God, Zach Collins came and played for me, and his efficiency fell off a cliff. So I might have to drop his three-point tendency as well. So yeah, Mark Williams, all of his three-point shot tendencies, I'm just going to bring to 0. And Zach Collins, I'll probably drop his like maybe 30 points lower. Like right now, he's at a 29. I'll probably bring him to like a 15 or something like that. Okay, let's see who we get from the play-in here. We get the Indiana Pacers in the first round, who probably have a pretty solid team. Yeah, they have Tyrese still. And other than that, it's pretty much a bunch of like role guys, pretty much. Benedict Mathurin does not look like he progressed in this game, so that's unfortunate for them. Game 1, we win. Game 2, we lose. Game 3, we lose. Okay, so I'm going to have to go really heavy on my starters here. I'm actually going to take Zach Collins out of the lineup completely and go really heavy on Mark Williams and Wembanyama. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be overworking these guys, but this is the year. Like, I'm all in this season. I gave away so many draft picks. Game 4, we win. Game 5, we win. Game 6, we lose. Game 7. Bro, I swear to God, every single video, I'm the 1 seed and I lose to an 8 seed. This is so ridiculous. I'm spending all this time to put together a good team just for 2K to be like, no, I'm gonna put a team with 1 really good guy and a bunch of bad guys to lose to your team that has 3 really good guys and a bunch of pretty good guys around it in the first round. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, 2K needs to do something, man. This literally ruins my whole vibe, ruins the whole video. DJ Wagner is your finals MVP and the Rockets win. Hopefully I get Dinwiddie back and I can go 1 more year without getting cheese like this, but like, this is actually ridiculous. Okay, so I do have bird rights on Spencer Dinwiddie. That is definitely good to see. I'm just gonna give him a flat deal for like 13 mil a year and hopefully he accepts it right away. It looks like he will accept it. And about to get out of moratorium, we do pick him up. Mark Williams, I'm actually gonna sign him to like a 22.5 mil deal for 3 years bird. And maybe I can use him in a trade if things aren't going well for me. And he agrees to that. Marcus Bagley, I'm gonna bring back on a 4-year bird deal starting at 10, ending at 12 mil. He agrees to that. And then I'm actually gonna bring Nick Richards back to the team for 3 years back, starting at 7, ending at 7.7 because he fits the system. He went to OKC for 1 year, didn't work out, and now we're gonna bring him back to Charlotte. So we get Alex Fuller and Livingston back on the qualifying. Player progression, Wemby up to a 95, Mark Williams up to an 80, Isaiah Evans, huge jump to 79. Spencer Dinwiddie at 79, I'm not too concerned about. And then everyone else here is green. Let's hope we do not get cheese in this next season, the 26-27 season. I'm going to get the lineups ready and show you what it's looking like. So I am taking a different approach than last year. I'm gonna give my starters and big guys less minutes in the regular season, and then if I need to, progress it in the playoffs so that these bench guys can progress more during the regular season to hopefully be better come playoff time. So yeah, our bench doesn't really look that good, but I feel like Isaiah Evans will get to an 80, Nick Richards might get there, and then Sky Clark will also probably get there. So let's sim this season. I don't think I'll need to stop at the trade deadline, and hopefully everything's still looking good. I stopped at the trade deadline. We're doing pretty well, probably on pace for around the same record as last year, but I'm worried about my bench being a problem in the playoffs, and maybe that's why 2K is making me lose to 8 seeds in the first round. So I'm gonna give Mark Williams away and some pretty decent draft capital to the Knicks for an older Daniel Gafford who's putting up more blocks and is better defensively and shooting better, and Keegan Murray who's having a very good season from the Knicks who's also 26. So they could use this to get a center that's still pretty good for the next 4 to 5 years or 3 to 5 years while they bring in young guys and put together a new squad to compete with. So yeah, we are going to do this trade in the regular season trade deadline. So with that trade done, Gafford's gonna slide into the starting center role. Keegan Murray's gonna be the sixth man, and I'm gonna replace Caleb Martin's minutes with his minutes, and I'll still have Caleb Martin there in case someone fouls out as a decent guy to play in that scenario. So let's sim to the end of the season now and see if that was a good trade or not. We have one game left on the season. We're 54-27. Last year, I think we won 57 wins, so we're a bit under that. And we end up 55-27 with Wembanyama getting back-to-back MVPs. Just insane stat lines. Trenton Flowers is your rookie of the year. Isaiah Collier, sixth man. Back-to-back depoys for Wemby as well. Bronny James, most improved in Sacramento. And Mark Daigneault, coach of the year. We have a Wemby All-NBA first this time. LaMelo goes to All-NBA second this time. And that is it for us there. Wemby obviously All-Defensive first, and no one we have an All-Defensive second. And we should not have any rookies. So do we end up as a 1 seed again? We do. Let's hope we don't choke it this time. We saw Wemby's stats there. LaMelo Ball kind of falls off on his scoring, but still really good playmaking and defense and efficient scoring anyways. Brandon Ingram, still obviously pretty consistent guy. Keegan Murray comes in for me and just like shoots insanely efficiently as well. Marcus Bagley, like my whole team here can shoot well, play pretty good defense. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to make a finals run this year, as Gafford puts up 2 blocks for me. Like all these guys are really efficient shooters. Nick Richards really efficient from the field. And then Caleb Martin even shot efficient in the minutes he got. So round 1, we are going to have the Indiana matchup, who have pretty much, actually they have a different team. Now they have Suggs, Bridges at the 2 and 3 instead of who they had last year. So I will be shocked if we get upset by the 8 seed 2 years in a row. We win game 1, we win game 2, we win game 3. Thank you. We sweep the 8 seed in the first round as the 1 seed, as things should happen in real life. Round 2 against Chicago, they have Markelle at the 1, VJ Miller, Mbako, 88 overall Mbako. They signed Giannis, so that's going to be scary, but we have Wemby there to deal with him, and we have the better center. Let's see what happens. Game 1, we win. Game 2, we win. Game 3, we lose. Game 4, we win. Game 5, we lose. Game 6, we win. So now we're in the conference finals against the 3 seed Orlando Magic, who have Lonzo still, Jeb Howard 86, Wagner, Banchero still, and Bol at the 5. I honestly feel pretty good about it. Game 1, we win. Game 2, we win. Game 3, we win. Game 4, we win. So we sweep them and go to the NBA Finals. Wemby as your East Finals MVP, putting up 35, 13, 4 assists, 3 steals, and a block. And Scoot, 1 and 2 guys from the draft that's supposed to be this year in the 2023 lottery are your Finals MVP guys for the conferences in 2027, I believe this is. So let's see who Scoot has around him. He's got Isaiah Elohim, MJ Rice, 89 Xavier Booker, and 87 Sabonis. I feel like we have the better squad overall. Game 1, we win. Game 2, we win. Game 3, we lose. Game 4, we win. Game 5, we lose. Game 6, we lose. Oh my God. Game 7, simulate with Simcast. We are in 2027, June. And so far we're up. Going into halftime, it's back and forth. In the third, they're up by almost 15. In the fourth, they're up by almost 20. It's not looking good. And the Spurs win the championship in 7. Scoot is your Finals MVP. I think I'll do one more year and see if I can make a Finals championship run. So let's see if we can do it. Okay, so I pretty much got the same roster back, except Daniel Gafford walked in free agency, and so did Caleb Martin. I replaced Gafford with Mo Bamba and Caleb Martin with potentially Furkan Korkmaz. So here's what progression's looking like. Wemby up to a 96. Dinwiddie is falling off a lot, so I might change Isaiah Evans to a shooting guard and have Dinwiddie be a backup there.
but we'll see how that works once I look at how the lineup's gonna work in this next season. Okay, so Dinwiddie at this point is honestly not gonna play for me because I have other prospects who can take his spot. I feel like I'd want a decently high overall starting center, and Vucevic does that for me. He has pretty decent defensive stats. I think I would just have to drop his three-point tendency so he's not shooting poorly from the field as well. And I think I'm gonna do this trade with Phoenix for this final year to beef up my roster a little bit more and hopefully help us win that championship. And they actually have they wanna trade like guys that don't really matter, so we're gonna agree to that. So yeah, Vucevic's three-point shot tendency is almost at a 50. I'm gonna bring it down to a 25. Here's what the lineup's gonna look like for this last season. Isaiah Evans coming into that starting 2 spot as an 81 overall. Vucevic coming as my starting center. Keegan Murray still 6-man. Nick Richards 17. Sky Clark still there. Bagley still there. And Chris Livingston has been waiting for his chance this whole time to get some minutes. Is finally gonna get a decent amount of minutes off the bench to be a good role guy. He has pretty good grades, so I hope he works out there. Let's sim this last season, and hopefully this is it. 2027-28 season is about to wrap. We are 59-22 with one more game left against the Pistons to see if we can get 60 wins, and we do it. Wembanyama, back-to-back MVP awards, putting up very consistent numbers every single time. Sondrup is your Rookie of the Year. Rama Lloyd, 6-man. Wemby, back-to-back Defensive Player of the Years. Ron Holland, Most Improved, and Mark Daigneault, Coach of the Year. So there was another really good team in the league. Wemby, obviously All-NBA first. LaMelo falling off All-NBA second, and LaMelo doesn't make an All-NBA team this time. Here's your All-Defensive first, All-Defensive second, and rookies, we shouldn't have anyone, and we do not. So either OKC or Toronto won 65 wins this year. Wow, so Toronto went 63-19 with Anthony Davis, and this Pascal Siakam is back there after he had a little bit of a stint over in Chicago. So they have a really solid roster, honestly. And then, yeah, it was OKC who went 65-17. There's 5 teams in the league with 60+ wins. That is ridiculous. Here's the stats for the year real quick if you want to take a look at them. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because, well, LaMelo actually, his assists went down a lot. So LaMelo had an off year. Here's BI. Oh my God, 50% from 3. 50-50-90, insane. Isaiah Evans kind of falling off, which is not good. Hopefully he bounces back in the playoffs. Keegan Murray, solid. Oh, I fixed Vucevic's three-point shot tendency, and it was a beautiful decision. He shot almost 40% from there. Maybe I put Bagley into the starting 2 spot because he's shooting a lot better, and he honestly has really good grades. Here's Sky Clark's stats, really solid always. Livingston came in and played good for me as his first actual year. There's Nick Richards, and that was pretty much it. So let's see who we have in the first round. First, we have Washington. I'm not going to adjust the lineup unless we start losing. They have Mark Armstrong. Tyler Hero's there now with an 89 Ian Jackson. Porzingis is back there at the 5. And yeah, we should be good here. Hopefully, game 1, we win. Game 2, we win. Game 3, we win. Game 4, we win. So we sweep Washington. We now have Chicago in the second round, who have Markelle, VJ Miller, 90 Mbako, 98 Giannis, and 76 Bruno Fernando. I'm honestly going to just adjust the rotation beforehand. So game 1 versus Chicago with Giannis, we lose. Game 2, we win. Game 3, we lose. Game 4, we lose. Game 5, we lose. So yeah, Giannis, I guess, is just that guy. Like Giannis, yeah, 27, 11, and 9 with 1 steal and 2 blocks. Just took the Bulls over the top. I hate ending these as the Bulls actually go to the finals with Isaiah Collier as your West MVP, Giannis as your East MVP, and do they win it? They lose in 7 to OKC as Isaiah Collier is your Finals MVP. I hate ending these on L's. So far we've done 6 seasons. I will do 1 more season, but do it really quick. So I'm not going to show this off-season stuff. I'm just going to show once we get to the end of next season and then the playoffs. So let's run that real quick. Okay, so we lost some key role guys last offseason in Vucevic and Keegan Murray. So I have to do some lineup management to make things work. And I still want to give the bench guys some minutes to help them progress for this playoff run. So we're 49 and 32, as you can see in the bottom left. One more game against the Pelicans, and we lose. So we're under a 50-win team. Wembanyama, 4-time in a row MVP of the league. Burt Goodwin, Rookie of the Year. Cooper Flag, 6-man. Wembanyama, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year in a row. Malik Thomas, Most Improved, and Willie Green is your Coach of the Year. Here's All-NBA first, All-NBA second, All-NBA third, no LaMelo again, and here's your all-defensive teams as Wemby is obviously there. And we get Terrence Shannon. So Terrence Shannon has not played yet. He was a 78 overall, just sitting in free agency, so I picked him up, and he actually gets all-rookie first team, so that was good to see. So we're the 4 seed this year, going back against the team that eliminated us last year. We'll go through the stats really quick here. Wembanyama's shooting actually went up a lot from the previous season. LaMelo Ball, his points per game are back up a bit. I moved Isaiah Evans to the small forward position, and he clearly flourished there, putting up 20 points a night, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. Brandon Ingram, I moved to the power forward spot. He played really well. Marcus Bagley is my starting shooting guard now, playing pretty solid if I say so myself. We saw Terrence Shannon. Sky Clark, always solid. Chris Livingston, slightly improving. And there's Nick Richards. And I picked up Charles Bassey, who played a bit, but he was playing terrible, so I just took his minutes away. So yeah, this is kind of the lineup change I made. I put Wemby at the 5 instead of the 4 this time, and I feel like it worked out pretty well. Let's hope it works for this playoff run. Let's see who Chicago has. They still have Giannis. They do, and their guys have progressed a lot. They have Amen Thompson at the 1 now, who's an 87. So I'm not that confident. Game 1 we win though. Game 2 we lose. Game 3 we lose. Let's let 2K adjust this rotation again and get everything right. I really do not want Charles Bassey getting any minutes, so we're going to give those to Chris Livingston again. Game 4 we win. Game 5 we win. Game 6 we lose. So let's adjust this rotation one more time. Bagley is back in that starting spot. Bassey, I'm sorry, you're just not going to play for me. Chris Livingston's actually not playing well, so I'm going to run an 8-man and let 2K figure that out. Let's see if it works out for us. Game 7 against Chicago. We win. Okay. Second round against the 1-seeded Magic. Let's see who they have on their team. Lonzo, Josh Christopher, and still Paulo there, and Aaron Bradshaw. So pretty solid team. I feel like we could win though. Game 1 we win. Game 2 we win. Game 3 we win. Game 4 we lose. Game 5 we win. Back to the conference finals against the Pacers, who did take us out this video as the 8th seed one time. Still have Tyrese, have Gregory Jackson and Miles Turner, so just a solid squad all around. I feel like we have more of the firepower. Game 1 we win, Game 2 we lose. I didn't want to simulate with some cats there. Game 3 we lose, so let's go back into 2K. Let them adjust this rotation here and get the guys right. Game 4 we win, Game 5 we win. Game 6 we win. So Wemby is your East Finals MVP, and Matas Buzelis is your West Finals MVP. So we're going against the reigning NBA championship OKC Thunder. Let's see who they have on their team. They have 4 90s with Isaiah Collier, Josh Giddey, Matas Buzelis, and Chet, but their 4 is pretty weak. So we have the higher 90s though in Wemby and LaMelo. So let's hope it works out for us. Game 1, we win. Game 2, we win. Game 3, we lose. Game 4, we win. Game 5, we lose. Game 6, don't make me go to Game 7 again. We win. So the Charlotte Hornets finally get an NBA championship in 2028. Wembanyama is your finals MVP, putting up 29, 14, 4 assists, 1 assist, or 1 steal, 3 blocks, 55 from the field, 40 from 3. So we end this rebuild off with 2 90 overalls. Ingram is probably starting to regress, so he wouldn't get there. Isaiah Evans, though, would probably get there, so we would have 3 90s. And honestly, although the rest of the team was a bunch of high 70s guys, like Marcus Bagley was not playing like a 78 overall. His ratings here are not 78 overall material. It's probably just his badges that's making him like that. Same with Terrence Shannon, like really good ratings, really good stats. I don't understand why 2K didn't up his overall when he's playing that well. So yeah, it's really weird that 2K does that. I kind of showed it earlier, but just a quick recap. In 7 seasons, we went to 2 NBA finals and we lost 1 in 7 and won the other one in 6. And yeah, if I go to MVPs here, if I can find it, like Wembanyama, 4-time MVP, he just came in and went crazy. Rookie of the year, 4-time in a row defensive player in the year, like absolutely insane from him. Leave a like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed the video. Comment down below any thoughts you had on anything happening throughout it. I'm glad I was able to end it off with a championship. Like I said, I really don't like ending it without a championship, so sometimes I'll stretch it to like 10 years max before I just give up on it. Hope everyone has a good new year. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.